Welcome to L5 Star FC's Everton vs Liverpool reaction video. Well, guys, it wasn't the result we wanted. It was another result that just proves that we're in a bit of a sticky patch at the minute. I'm joined by Wakar, Salah and Charlie to review this one. What are your thoughts on the game? Overall thoughts, very, very poor performance from the boys, in my opinion. But I'll get to you, Wakar, first. We'll start with you. What were your thoughts on the game?
We were very average. That's all I can say, really. Not happy with the performance. Trent was our best player. Not a penalty. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, it wasn't a penalty, in my opinion. But we'll get onto that. We'll go on to you, Charlie. What was your thoughts of the game? Very frustrating, wasn't it?
But yeah, I think Thiago's header, I don't know what he's doing with the goalie. He just headed it right to, I forget who it was now, Rodriguez or someone. And then Kabak wasn't tracking Richarlison's run. And I think it was awful from Kabak throughout the game, really. He didn't play very well. And we didn't create many chances, really. So, yeah, not a very good performance at all.
Yeah, for me, I think it was mainly Thiago's fault because obviously the defender's 20 years old. It's his third start for Liverpool. So you can't directly pin it on him because he wasn't handed the best circumstances, but he should have been tracking his run, simple as. But it was a very poor performance. We'll get into all of that. But Salah, we'll end with you. What are your overall thoughts on the game?
Just a shit performance, isn't it? We should have done better. To see my team playing in a derby like this, to see them playing like that, they had no fight, they had no aggression, they didn't want it. Everton wanted it more. They got it. They were playing good. We had possession. We didn't do nothing with that possession. It's how it's been for the past 2 months. We had possession. We've done nothing with it. It's a poor game, but now Everton are our level on points with us. This was our chance to go above, and we could have had a good leverage above Chelsea in a few weeks' time when we go to them. But of course, whenever we have a chance to give ourselves some leverage, we always have to blow it. So I'm not surprised, but it was a shocking performance on Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, for me, to lose against Everton, obviously, thank goodness I wasn't born the last time they won at Anfield. But to see them lose, if they lost and we played well, I could have accepted it a bit more. The fact that we didn't show any fight, it was very lackluster for me. It just makes it a bigger pill to swallow, really. We had chances, but we weren't clinical enough. We were playing two down the middle, in my opinion. I know it was windy, but we can't use it as excuses. It was just we were not, whether the wind was fine or not, we were never going to win the game. I knew from the 16th minute, I think it was, when we missed a few chances, I thought this just isn't going to be our day because they played three at the back. We were playing down the middle. We weren't using Trent and Robertson, and it just didn't work. We created chances. Kabak looked shaky at the back for me. Nat Phillips looked strong when he came on. He did his job. But what are your thoughts on Nat Phillips? Do you think people are underrating him? Obviously, he's not a Premier League proven central defender, but every time he's come in, he's done a job, and he's filled in and he's done very well. We'll start with you, Wakar. Do you think he's being underlooked here?
I think in some games he does all right, in some he doesn't. But I think if he played for maybe a lower team, maybe he'll get more recognition. But for Liverpool, I think he's been a bit overlooked.
Yeah. What about you, Charlie?
I think every time he's come in, he's done well. He's been solid. He hasn't made any horrific mistakes, and I think he's consistent. He's solid every time. He's a bit like Milner in that sense, and I think he would do him well in like a Burnley where he doesn't have to play off from the back. He can just head it and get rid. He's just good at defending, but he's maybe not a modern defender. He doesn't have pace, and he can't play off from the back. But apart from that, he's been really good. A really good fill-in for Van Dijk, Gomez, and Matip.
Yeah, I like him because I think he shows fight every time he comes on. He's not afraid to put challenge in. I think he's a typical English central defender where he'll be quite aggressive and he'll be quite physical, which I think is always good to have in your team. Some presence like that in your team. But we'll end with you, Salah. What are your thoughts on Nat Phillips? Do you think he's underlooked, overlooked? What are your thoughts?
100% underlooked. He's played, I think, about 3 Premier League games. In 2 of them, he's got man of the match performances and 1 man of the match. So I think he's a good player. Definitely not like a star, but like going into next season, if we're gonna probably learn our lesson now. I think we should keep him because at maximum he's a good fourth choice centre back. He's done all right. Every time he's been called upon, he's done great.
Yeah, definitely. I think, but we'll go on to the penalty. Obviously, 1-0 down at that point. Do you think it was a penalty? Personally, I do not think it was a penalty. I think Trent was trying to block the shot. Calvert-Lewin had the shot. I think it was Calvert-Lewin who had the original shot. Calvert-Lewin chased the follow-up, and he fell over Trent, and his knee went into the back of his head and given a penalty. What I just don't understand is if you're going to give that a penalty, you give the one that Sadio Mane against Newcastle a penalty. And I didn't even think that was a penalty, really. I think we were just looking for some sort of excuses to, try and say that we could have won the game from that point. But we'll start with you, Wakal. Do you think it was a penalty?
I don't think it was a penalty. Trent didn't know. Trent tried to block the shot, but Calvert-Lewin just knees him in the head, and then he just falls over. But we played shit. We can't just blame VAR for the loss because we already 1-0 down, and we had no hope. No one was, apart from that Salah chance, we didn't really have a good chance. And Everton could have been 2 up by then if Coleman scored. So we were just playing horrible.
Yeah, I mean, we were never going to win the game. But it's something that just really frustrates me because, actually doesn't even surprise me because of the amount of decisions that have gone against us, but maybe gone for other teams. It does frustrate me, but at the end of the day, we were never going to win the game. We never looked like we were going to win the game. Everton were always top dog in the game, and I felt that we lacked the clinical edge. We lacked the killer pass. I don't know what's going wrong at the moment. I don't know. And obviously Henderson's out, but we'll stick to the penalty situation. Was it a penalty, Charlie?
It definitely wasn't a penalty, but like you said, it's irrelevant, really. It's like it doesn't get given. It's 1-0. We didn't look like we were going to score. As soon as that goal went in, you think it's going to be a tough game because they're just going to sit back. It's perfect for like an Ancelotti Italian type manager to just go up 1-0 and sit back, and we just didn't create anything really significant. So it wasn't a pen, but it was irrelevant, really.
Yeah, I think that even though people are saying it was quite harsh, I do think it was quite harsh, but at the end of the day, it was irrelevant because we were already 1-0 down at that point. And to be honest with you, to be quite frank, I didn't think we were going to get an equaliser just by the way they were playing, the amount of how Keane was playing, how well Pickford was playing, T-Rex Pickford, you know what I mean? But we'll go on to you, Salah. Was it a penalty?
No, not a pen. He literally just made a clear intention to slide. Whatever happens. But as you know, in this game now, the modern game, intent is taken out of every situation. But I was watching a early episode on Ref Watch to Sky Sports, and when Trent goes down, his leg's still up, and Calvert-Lewin runs into his leg, which might have been why the referee had given it. But the reason I'm more annoyed at this penalty is because Chris Kavanagh went to the monitor to check it. He only checked it for 5 seconds. That absolutely took the piss. It's because if you're going to go to the monitor, you check all angles. You just don't check one angle and say it's not a penalty. That's what really annoyed me on Saturday. Yeah. What's the point of having VAR if you're not going to check all the angles? You're not going to check it precisely. At least check it properly, check it thoroughly, and then give you a verdict. He checked it for 5 seconds and said, that's a pen. When I gave the pen. It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, well, I watched James Redmond's YouTube channel, and he was saying that he knows someone who works in Anfield who can hear in on Stockley Park and what's going on. And apparently Stockley Park, though whoever was officiating at Stockley Park, deemed that it wasn't a penalty, but advised Chris Kavanagh to go and check the situation because it was being checked or something like that. And the fact that he only seen one angle. If if you're gonna go and check the monitor, you can check it from a few angles because the options are there to you. If it's that controversial that people are saying after the game that it was, it could have been given, it could not have been given, then surely it's not a situation where you're that confident that it was a penalty that you only had to see one angle. Do you know what I'm trying to get at? But at the end of the day, like I've said before, we were never going to win the game. But it just really frustrated me that the VAR has been very harsh on Liverpool. But we'll have a look at some stats which don't make for good reading. We've lost against Everton for the first time at Anfield in this century. The last one, I think it was 1998. First defeat against Everton under Klopp. Lost 4 league games in a row for the first time since 2002, and lost 4 games in a row at home for the first time since 1923. Well, considering last season we were breaking all the good records, I don't like the bad records being broken as well. So hopefully we right that wrong. But obviously Henderson injured now. But on the positive side, Jota's going to return to full training on Wednesday. How happy are you to hear that Jota is back in full training on Wednesday, Waka?
That's probably the best news we're going to get this week. He's probably our number 9 of an actual striker that can score goals, because Bobby, he drops in the midfield, and then don't get me wrong, I love Bobby, but I think it's time we get an actual number 9 like Jota. But we need someone like just an out-and-out striker that can get goals. Someone like an Aguero, not Aguero, but someone like Aguero, someone that plays like that, someone like a Vardy that can score goals. Because when Salah and Mane ain't playing good, then do we look like we're going to get a goal from somewhere?
Yeah, it's true. Do you know what I think that Liverpool could do? They could put Salah maybe down the middle. I'm not so sure. I think Firmino, as much as I love him, I do think he needs a rest, purely because he's not a number 9. People are using him as like some sort of scapegoat. Oh, he's not scoring. That's not his job. His job is to provide chances for the front two,
I'm
which
not
is
saying
Mane
that
and Salah.
Firmino is not scoring goals. It's just that, like, Firmino who drops in the midfield, and then when Salah and Mane aren't playing their best, then we don't look like we're going to get a goal from somewhere. So you just in the midfield, helping out the midfield, an extra body in there.
Yeah, I just can't wait to get Jota back, purely because it adds competition, maybe pushes Mane, and if it pushes Mane, it pushes Robertson, because we know how pivotal that left-hand side is, and when one isn't on form, the other usually isn't on form either. How excited are you to hear that Jota's back in full team training, Salah?
I'm buzzing. Probably going to be the best news, and probably one of the best news this season, because Firmino's done. I love Firmino, but he's done. You could say that you need to try him in the 10. You could say that he links play. He does that. Okay, he does that nicely. But it's statistically proven that this season, his link-up play has even dropped off. And the chances he has, they literally, you should be finishing them. If you're like, we know he can finish. He had 2 chances against Everton. He had the still ball, and he nearly flied it over the Kop. Like, come on, like, you're a striker, you're not a midfielder. You have to at least get those shots on target. And it's not that it's a problem for Firmino this season. Even last season, he was not clinical. Like, when is the time going to come that we have to stop relying on our 2 wide players, and we have a number 9 that actually can finish? There's a lot of hard-working strikers similar to Firmino's work rate. Maybe Firmino has a better work rate, but can actually finish. In instant, Lautaro Martinez, Pat Sandaka, they can at least finish. Get the ball back in the net. Firmino, he's a good striker. Don't get me wrong. He's done a lot for this club, won a lot of things for us. But I think his time's up. And the thing with Jota, I think I'd rather prefer Jota off the left than in a central position. I think he's good in the central position, don't get me wrong, but I think he provides more threat off the left. But I'm buzzing that Jota will be back this week.
Yeah, what about you, Charlie?
Also to add that Milner and Fabinho should be back this week as well.
Yeah, that's good as well. That's some good news as well. But we'll keep on to the Jota situation. How happy are you to hear that Jota will be back in full team training this week, Charlie?
Well, yeah, hopefully he can revitalise our hopes for the top four, because I think for 18 months now, Firmino's been on a decline. Like, yeah, okay, his job's not to score goals, but he was scoring goals, and now he's not. And he's meant to be creating chances, now he's not. He's going on a bit of a decline. And Mane, these past, since Christmas, since Christmas has just been probably one good performance. He hasn't been very good. So to get Jota back to add a spark to the attack would be very exciting. And hopefully we can get top four.
Yeah. Hope, fingers crossed as well, because obviously Henderson's out on the other way. Obviously, it doesn't look good on that part. But we'll go on to player ratings. We'll start with Alisson. I personally give him a 6. I think he saved the Seamus Coleman one. I think he didn't play brilliantly. He did look a little bit shaky on the ball, but I think he looked more comfortable than Leipzig, and Leipzig looked more comfortable than Man City. So hopefully, fingers crossed. But what are you going for, Alisson? Guys, Waka, I'll start with you.
A 5. He looked a bit more comfortable, but not where we would like him to be.
Yeah. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I'd agree with you on a 6. It was all right. Like you said, he was shaky with his feet. I think that Coleman shot, it was straight at him, but he did have to make it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just average, really. Yeah, 6.
Yeah. What about you, Salah?
6. Good saving the Coleman. Distribution wasn't terrible. It was all right, but 6
it wasn't terrible.
6 is very good.
Yeah, what about Robertson? I felt like he was decent in the first half, and then the second half he was quiet. I think, if I remember rightly, Pickford was clearing a few times and Robertson would intercept it a few times. So based on his first half, I probably would have given him a 6, but in the second half, probably would have given him a 4. So I'm compromising with 5. What's your play rating, Salah, for Robertson?
For Robertson, I'm gonna go. He dealt well with the balls over, trying to, especially in the second half. There was a lot of ball played by Pickford, as you said, and he managed them well. So I'll go Robertson. By his standards, that's a poor performance, but I think Robertson deserves a 4 at least.
All right, okay. Yeah, I agree. Waka, what's your rating for Robertson?
I agree with you with a 5. Had a good first half and then just played poor again.
Yeah, what about you, Charlie? For Robertson?
Yeah, first half he was average, and then second half he wasn't very good. So yeah, probably 5.5.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go with the opposite fullback, Trent. I think probably one of the only players that could hold their head high after the derby. I think he was a tale of two halves. A bit like Robertson, I thought, but the opposite. He was a bit quiet in the first half. The second half, we started to see him a little bit more. He was running into the box. He was quite sharp on his feet. I'll give him a 7.5. That's what I'll give him. I think he was probably the only person who can hold their head up high. But yeah, we'll go with you, Charlie. What were your ratings for Trent?
Yeah, I'd agree with 7. That ball, I forget when it was, but he put a ball across the box. And Firmino and Mane, if they were anticipating better, they had a tap in. So yeah, I think Trent actually played really well. He's the only player who really impressed me that day. So yeah, give him a 7.
Yeah, what about you, Waka?
I'll give him a 7. Quite dead in the first half, and then second half played quite well. The Trent that we normally see.
Yeah, what about you, Salah?
7.
What are your ratings for Trent?
7. He was good.
Yeah,
he was good. Again, see, look, all of our forwards are off form, especially Firmino doesn't have that striker's instinct. It was a perfect ball inside the box. Could have made it 1-1, but we can't really do much about it. So he was decent. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do the centre backs. I don't think it's fair to rate Henderson purely because he went off quite early in the game. I think it was 25th minute or something. But we'll rate Kabak and Phillips. We'll start with Kabak. Obviously led to the mistake in the goal, but I think it was purely from the Thiago misheader. So I'll give Kabak a 5. I didn't think he was brilliant. I think his pace looked better. I think he was coping with the attacking threat and the offensive threat of Richarlison a bit better than Harvey Barnes the previous week, but still not brilliant from Kabak, but better than the options that we do have. But I'm gonna give him a 5 on this performance. What's your player rating, Salah?
4 for Quebec. Average, not even that good. He's a player that I really like. Hopefully he can play very good in the remaining games we have. And if he's very good in them, I see LFC just triggering that buyout clause. But I'll give him a 4. That goal wasn't his fault, but yeah, give him a 4.
Yeah. What about you, Waka?
4.5. Pretty average, but I think he'll show that LFC should buy him because he is a good player, but I think he just needs to get used to the Premier League and then we can make a full judgment on him.
Yeah, what about you, Charlie? Rating for Kabak?
I think this is his first bad performance. He's had 2 good performances, and this is his first bad one. He's 20. You can't blame him. He's gone off a bad performance, so I give him about a 5 because
yeah. So we're going to Phillips. Personally, I reckon he was I want to say 7, but at the end of the day, we did concede 2 goals, so I might go 6.5 purely because I think he was all right. I think he was very solid. He had a good game. He did what he had to do, but he was caught with the penalty situation, which could have been avoided, but it happened. But I'll give a 6.5. What are your play ratings for Nat Phillips, Salah?
Nat Phillips 6. He was good. He was good aerially, but again that speed. If you look at the penalty situation closely, you see Nat Phillips and he just can't catch up. Like his speed's not up to a Premier League defender type, but he was decent when he came on, so I'll give him a 6.
Yeah. What about you, Waka?
I'll give him a 5. Did all right, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Charlie? What are your ratings for?
I'd give him a 6. Like I said before, he's just solid every time he comes on. He's not great, he's not crap, he's just average, and that's all you need for a filler till the end of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll go on to the midfield. Curtis Jones had another little sound game, to be honest. Probably not as good as he was against Leipzig, but he's showing promising signs for the future, and he's a Liverpool player now, and I reckon he was possible. I don't know why they took him off personally, but Klopp's decisions have been questionable over the past few weeks. But I'm gonna give him a 6. Yeah, I'll be sound 6. So, what were your play ratings for Curtis Jones, Salah?
I'll give him a 4. One of his average performances this season. He's been playing good this season, but just couldn't make impact. Couldn't play the ball out. He was trying to make things happen, but again, the only problem I have with him is he takes too many touches to release the ball. He'll have an option, but you take 2 touches and go backwards, which I don't like when players go backwards when you have options forwards. He just needs to stop taking too many chances. But he wasn't bad. He wasn't poor. He was average.
Yeah, I think Liverpool are lacking a bit of urgency, but at the moment. But what are your play ratings for him, Waka?
I'll give him a 6. It would be a 7, but just like Salah said, just takes too many touches and then he goes backwards again.
Yeah, but we'll go to Wijnaldum. What are your play ratings for Wijnaldum? I think he was, if I remember, I'd go with 6 again. I don't think he stood out massively in the game, but Gini Wijnaldum always produces a solid performance, minimum. So I'll go 6. What are yours, Charlie? What are your play ratings for Wijnaldum?
Yeah, 6. He was just average. He didn't play crap, didn't play well. He was just average. Just that's about it, really. It's decent, a few decent passes, but he didn't create anything. Didn't do anything poorly.
Yeah. What are your What are your player ratings for Wijnaldum, Salah?
I'll give it 2 from Horst today. He deserves at least a 3.5. I don't see what he brings to this team, honestly. I've seen him for the past 2 months. I don't see what he brings to this team. He's absolutely, sometimes he turns into a ghost. He has that one performance every five games. He has that one performance, and fans start adoring him. Fans are like, sign a contract, sign this, bro. Trust me, if we want to take this team to the next level and get our title back next season, but it's a blessing in disguise that this guy's going. We need to bring in a new midfielder that can bring the ball forward, not pass the ball backwards, and can create chances. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but even against Everton, he was bang on average. He wasn't that good. I honestly don't see what he can bring to this team anymore. Like, he's done great.
Also, he works hard and he contributes to the team, that engine in midfield, and we need that.
I get where you're coming from, but he plays in the 6. In the 6, you're supposed to create. You're not supposed to go backwards, are you? He played in the 6 against Everton. He played on the left side of the midfield. You're not supposed to go backwards. You're supposed to create. You're supposed to send passes forwards. If he's going side to Robertson and then Robertson goes back to him, then you're not really going to create much, he's a good player, but he's not, my problem really just he's having one good performance every 5 games, which he can't do that. He needs to perform every day. Every game. I'm just not a fan of him anymore.
Yeah, I do think he's probably going to leave. However, there was that video that emerged before with the... Did you see that when he was in a drive-through and a few Everton fans asked him, and he said something like, Barcelona want him, but he doesn't want them, or something along them lines. I don't want to
I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
Some Everton fan told him that Barca want him, and then he said something like, "I don't want them," or something like that.
Yeah, it was something along them lines. But yeah, let's see if he signs a contract. I think that he would have probably signed the contract by now. But obviously, I think he wants a bit more money, doesn't he?
Even then, like, he's a good player, but what is he on, 70k per week, and he wants to be on wages similar to Van Dijk and Salah. I'm sorry, you're not on their type. You're not a player like Salah or Van Dijk. You don't contribute to the team like they do. If you want 150k a week, then go to Inter Milan or Juventus. But he's been a good servant.
I think he deserves more. Yeah. I think he deserves more. But on the pedigree of Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, they're the top class players of the football club. But Gini has proved that he's a world-class midfielder in his own right. But I agree with you in the sense that he hasn't lived up to the heights last season. But name a Liverpool player that has, you know what I mean? So you could only argue probably Salah. But, Waka, we didn't guarantee your Wijnaldum player rating.
I think he'll get a 4. He hasn't been what he was last season. The player just winning the ball, just being smart, just getting the ball, running forward, having shots, scoring goals. I think he scored against someone, and then after that he's been not where he should be. And if he wants to be on these wages like Van Dijk, Salah, but when they came to Liverpool, they weren't on those wages. They had to prove themselves, and they were doing it consistently. And Wijnaldum, he's not having the season where he would like to be having, if we're all being honest. Last season he was just, even this season, I think it was Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports said that Wijnaldum just gets in little pockets and just gets tackles them and just goes forward. And since then he has not won the ball and just gone forward.
Yeah, well, we'll get on with it. Thiago, another performance for him, which, is quite disappointing. Hopefully he gets 100% as soon as possible, but to be honest with you, he doesn't look like he's suited in as quick, adapted as quick as we wanted. But based on this performance, I thought he was better in midweek, but he was a bit sloppy again defensively again this week. So I'll give him a 4. I think there's nothing really I can say that proved that he was worthy of a 5 or a 6. So I'll give him a 4. What are your player ratings for Thiago? So Charlie?
Yeah, I probably agree on a 4. It just annoys me, Thiago, so much. Like, he's meant to be this world class, like, European Cup winner. He's won it twice. Midfielder who plays, he passes it fancy, but he doesn't do anything with the passes. He's just like, it's like going to a circus or something. Like, it's nice to watch, but it doesn't win you trophies. You know what I mean? It's like, and it was his fault for the goal. It's just the Spanish Joe Allen, basically. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I hope he lives up to his expectations. I agree with the element that he is a fancy footballer, but we've seen in Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Barcelona that he can unlock a game like that when he's on his form, his peak of his game. He can pick out passes that no one else can see. Like we've seen the one against Everton in the reverse fixture with the Henderson offside goal, when he picks out Henderson. None of the Everton players were anticipating that ball to Mane originally. So I think he does have it in his locker, but he's very slow at the minute to adapt, which I hope he can get to, his peak potential. But we'll go with you, Sarah. What are your ratings for Thiago?
I'll give him a 4. He was okay. I know he will fulfill his price tag at Liverpool. Just wait next season. Just wait till he has Fabinho, Henderson partnering him. He will exceed expectations, but it's not his fault that he's in a team that's getting rotated every week, in the midfield that's getting rotated every week. Even Klopp has said it, but that performance wasn't that good enough by him. He needs to improve, but yeah, 4's fair enough for Thiago.
Yeah, I do think that that makes sense massively because without having Fabinho and Henderson in the midfield, it's always going to be difficult for some player to settle in when you've got Wijnaldum not playing in his normal position, and then Fabinho and Henderson are both being used as makeshift centre halves. But we'll stick with Thiago. What are your play ratings for Thiago Wakar?
A 4, pretty average.
Yeah,
he doesn't have it in his locker, but he's just not showing it. And just like Salah said, you just need Fabinho and Henderson in the midfield, because every week is a new midfield, and he's just not building a partnership with 2 other guys that start every game. It's either Wijnaldum, Curtis Jones, and then next week it could be someone else, and then someone else. Like he's a new signing, and he's 2 people to build it, or at least one person that just plays with him to just help him get used to the Premier League. But it's just, but I think when next season, when the normal midfielders come back in, I think he will live up to the price tag, but he's just going to be slow, and just he won't be as good as we hope he would be this quickly. We're going to have to wait and just see what happens.
Yeah, we'll go with the front 3. We won't go in deep depth into the front 3 ratings, but we'll just give a number for each player. So we'll start with, on the left, Mane. What are we giving him? I'm giving him a 5. Salah?
4.
Charlie?
5.
Wakar?
A 5.
Yeah, agreed. Salah? We'll go for Mohamed Salah. Where are you going, Salah?
4. He had the chance that he should have finished, but unlucky he's been the best player this season.
Yeah, I reckon 5, being the best player this season for us. But again, didn't have his shooting boots on really on Saturday. But Charlie?
5.5. Yeah, he was our best attacker that game, but he still wasn't great.
Yeah, Wakar?
5.
Yeah, and Firmino, give him a 4. Felt like he could have scored, but the amount of times he just frustrates you when, like Charlie said, he doesn't anticipate the cross as well as we would have liked him. And then when he does everything right, he'll have a shot and he'll lash it up into the gods in the Cop ends. It's very frustrating with Firmino at the moment, but I hope he kicks on. But I'll give him a 4. Salah.
For Firmino, I'd give him a 3. Again, I'm not going to go into depth like I did before, but just not good enough no more. So yeah, 3.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, 4.5.
4. Yeah, 4.5. Wicket.
I don't know what to really give him because he's just not playing good. I think I'll give him a 2.
Yeah, and
and that's just me being generous.
If you just let me touch on one thing, have you guys seen the? I know this is not to do with the reaction, but we won't discuss this on the preview of the next games. Have any of you read the previous physio's comments? He's
Yeah.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
He was DM'd on Instagram, and this is what he specifically said: Liverpool need to change a lot of things for me to come back. No thanks. Would you? To me, I'm getting kind of nervous at FSG because we had that furlough thingy as well. Like, there could be a lot of reasons to this, but there have been a lot of injuries since he has left. But I don't know. Those comments sound kind of suspicious to me.
Yeah,
I
I
think he's
just
just
think that if you're working at the best club in the world last season, then the club isn't gonna deal with you in the harshest manner because I don't know, just the precision and the amount of quality that has to be put in, the detail.
Unless he's getting £1 million a week, yeah, that's the only reason why I see him why he left Liverpool. But that's probably not the case. I think it's because of the furlough thing. FSG,
Yeah, furlough.
We're pretty much like Arsenal. They don't want to spend money. Arsenal don't want to spend money. Our main aim is top 4. We just like they don't want to spend money out of their own pockets. They want us to win these trophies, and we have done it, but we want to see some reinvestment into the club now.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on it, Charlie?
I think he's just salty because apparently we've got this new physio who's meant to be really good from Schalke. I think he's been at a few other German clubs and he's meant to be like one of the top. What's it called?
There was
Yeah.
There was one physio called
Yeah, I think it's just
Chris
a furlough
Morgan.
thing. Yeah, go on.
There was one physio called Chris Morgan at Arsenal. I think we replaced physio Jose with physio Morgan. And I think ever since physio Morgan has come, this is when the injuries have started coming. But I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something to do with the strength and conditioning.
Lab, who is it? I mean, who was on the phone?
To why the I think it's something to do with the strength and conditioning is possibly due to why the injuries are occurring, but it could be just some sort of stroke of bad luck. But if it happens again next season, I think it's something to do with what they're doing in training. However, if they don't, then it's probably just a bit of luck and
I think
coincidental.
This has got nothing to do with this, but I think God probably supports or hates Liverpool because if this was bad luck, then we wouldn't have seen our 3 centre backs injured. Most of our players have been injured this season, or they've had coronavirus. Unless there's something in their food that they shouldn't be eating, I don't know why they're getting injured. Because you would see, okay, maybe Virgil van Dijk getting injured, Matip just cookies like a crumble. Okay, that's fine. But Joe Gomez, he gets injured as well. Thiago gets badly injured. Who else was injured? Henderson just been very towards the end of last season. He was very injury prone, but he's just on and off. I wish that that Klopp decided to play either to play Nat Phillips and Kabak in defence, so Henderson could play in his preferred position, because centre back you got to do a lot of running, and midfield you also got to do a lot of running, but it's more of jogging, passing the ball, 1-2. But in playing centre back, you've got to just sprint, and Henderson, his groin, hamstring. He's our captain, and we've seen that in games where he's not played, we've lost a lot of games.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for joining and reviewing what was a very disappointing evening for the Red on Saturday night. Let's get to 30 likes on this video. Subscribe to L5 FC. What do you make of the performance? Get down in the comments down below and just give your thoughts on the performance. But yeah, we'll finish there. And God hates Liverpool, as Wakar rightly said. But yeah, thank you all for joining, and we'll see you all soon for a Sheffield United video, which should come out later in the week. But